What if the government confirmed a portal at Skinwalker Ranch? On the 12th of April, 2026, a federally contracted science team, permanently stationed on a remote ranch in northern Utah, released data that the paranormal research community has waited 30 years to see. Their instruments had confirmed the existence of what they called a doorway, an anomaly in the local spacetime that opens and closes on a pattern. A measurable, repeatable, non-natural feature in the ground that the team's sensors can detect every single time they run the experiment. The doorway, the team said, cannot be closed. It is, in the language of the federal briefing, a permanent feature of the location. The team had not been looking for a doorway when they arrived. They had been looking for the cause of the 2-decade-long series of UAP sightings, animal mutilations, electromagnetic anomalies, and unexplained phenomena that had been reported from this 512-acre property since 1994. Their kit included LiDAR fences, tritium and neutron counters, and directional antenna arrays. What they found was something none of their instruments were designed to detect. The doorway was not on any of the agency's tasking lists. Until the 12th of April, 2026, it was the most classified piece of ground in the continental. In 1994, Terry and Gwen Sherman bought a 512-acre cattle ranch on the south end of the Uinta Basin in northeastern Utah, near the small town of Ballard. The price was roughly $50,000. The property was remote, the property was quiet, and it had been a working cattle ranch for 2 generations before the Shermans took ownership. Within a week of moving in, they started losing cattle. Within a month, the family dog refused to go outside after dark. Within 3 months, Terry Sherman was standing in his kitchen at 2 a.m, looking out the window at what he would later describe as a creature the size of a small car, standing on 2 legs, looking back at him. Sherman would go on to co-author a book about the experience. Published in 2005, under the title Hunt for the Skinwalker, it became the most cited piece of primary source material on the ranch in the entire academic and paranormal research record. The Shermans sold the property in 1996. They would not stay. During their 22 months on the land, they reported more than 100 separate incidents. These included cattle found drained of blood with surgical-looking incisions, invisible entities that the family called the Watchers, standing at the edge of a clearing, a small silver disc hovering over a nearby field, orb lights that followed the family's truck, and a tall, dark, fur-covered biped that matched no known wildlife in the region. None of these incidents stopped when the Shermans left. In fact, they accelerated. In 1996, after the Shermans sold the property, the new owner continued to report incidents. Word reached Las Vegas. Robert Bigelow, the founder of Bigelow Aerospace and a future NASA contractor, flew in by private jet. Bigelow had been quietly funding research into UAPs for years. He had read the Sherman book before it was even published. In 2001, Bigelow purchased the ranch for $1.6 million. He then founded the National Institute for Discovery Science, a research program that would spend nearly $5 million per year investigating the property. NIDS, as the institute was called, was staffed by physicists, biologists, and trained observers. They placed instrument stations around the property, logged thousands of hours of audio and video, and reported anomalous EM signatures, unexplained aerial objects, and animal deaths consistent with surgical intervention. That work continued until 2007, when Bigelow closed NIDS without public explanation. The closure happened to coincide with the same year that the Department of Defense began its own UAP research program, what would later become the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP. Bigelow has never publicly stated why he shut NIDS down. The fact that it closed, rather than publishing its findings, is itself one of the most analyzed events in the modern UAP research record. The 2007 closure left one question unanswered for nearly 2 decades. What did NIDS find that was serious enough to keep secret, but not serious enough for the government to admit? In 2016, Brandon Fugal, the chairman of Colliers International's Utah operations and one of the state's wealthiest real estate figures, quietly bought the Skinwalker Ranch. Fugal is not a paranormal researcher. He is a businessman with a background in finance. Fugal has said he purchased the property because the previous owner told him stories he could not ignore. He has also said he bought it because he believes the federal government, not private citizens, should be the one investigating what is happening there. Within months of the purchase, Fugal began granting access to a rotating team of scientists. By 2020, that team included Dr. Travis Taylor, a weapons engineer and former NASA principal investigator who had already established himself on the show The Curse of Skinwalker Ranch, which had been running on the Travel Channel since 2019. When The Curse moved to the History Channel in 2021, the show was renamed The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. The new History Channel deal brought in industrial-grade equipment, including a 1.6 gigahertz antenna array, a tritium particle counter, and a directional microphone system. Fugal's commitment to the project was, in the words of one of his senior staff, scientific in scope, not paranormal. His mandate to the team was simple. They wanted data, they wanted reproducibility, and they wanted the kind of evidence that could survive peer review. The team he assembled was, in his own words, the most instrumented paranormal research site in the world. Between 2020 and 2024, the Fugal team focused on a specific feature of the property. They called it the Triangle. The Triangle is a roughly 200-meter section of the ranch where, according to 20 years of testimony, anomalous activity has been concentrated. The team also focused on a feature they called the Mesa, a low plateau in the middle of the triangle where, in 2022, ground-penetrating radar suggested an underground void. In May 2023, they drilled into the Mesa. They went through 3 layers of sandstone, then a layer of clay, then another layer of sandstone. Then they hit something. The drill bit stopped. When extracted, the bit carried strange metallic residue. An independent lab tested it. The residue did not match any known alloy in the region. The team brought in a 1.6 gigahertz antenna array. The array picked up a signal coming from the same area. That signal pulsed at exactly 1.6 gigahertz. No terrestrial source on the property could account for it. No satellite overhead matched the pattern. The signal was coming from below the mesa. The team did not announce the finding. They returned for further drilling in 2024 and found the same residue, the same signal, and the same unexplained results. By 2026, the federal team that would later confirm the doorway had been on the property for 3 years and had been coordinating with the Fugal team for at least one of those. In 2023, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the Pentagon's permanent UAP research program that grew out of the earlier AATIP work, released a partial report on what it called signature management threats. 12 pages long, the report mentioned a single, specific location by category. That location was described as a high-priority signature management test location. AARO did not name Skinwalker Ranch in the report. AARO did not need to. Anyone in the UAP research community reading the document in 2023 knew that the only high-priority signature management test location matching the description was the 512-acre property in the Uinta Basin. The AARO report marked the first time the federal government had officially acknowledged, in any form, that the activity at the ranch warranted federal interest. It did not say the phenomena were real. It did not say they were not real. What the report said was that the location was being treated as a high-priority national security asset for purposes of detecting and analyzing UAP activity. By the end of 2023, the ranch was no longer just a private research site. By the end of 2023, the ranch was a federal case file. That case file would not become public for another 3 years. On the 19th of May, 2026, the History Channel premiered the 7th season of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. The season ran for 9 episodes, ending in mid-July. Its narrative arc was